Thanks for staying with us. So something happened, and it was on social media, and I'm very pained, personally. Let me take that back. But it was a video about a man who took 2 dogs into a church.
It's 3 dogs.
Was it 3 dogs? Oh, 3 dogs. And they're not just regular, nice, Lhasa-looking, puppy-cute dogs. They were Alsatians, those big security dogs. What was his issue? Noise pollution. According to the report that we saw on social media, this man obviously had been complaining about noise pollution in the neighborhood, obviously residential, with a church in residential area. So maybe because we're having some kind of vigil or some kind of service, and they were disturbing him. So he brought 3 hefty dogs. Of course, he displaced all the members. Many of them ran away. They ran for their lives. We didn't see the pastor, but we saw other church members fleeing, and some were brave enough to still be praying against, the imminent invasion of the enemy into church, But the point is, a lot of people said a few things, which I think is good to have a conversation about. Some said that this is obviously wrong. Was he right? It was wrong for him. Even if you're angry that the church was making noise, do you have the right, as a person, to scare them away with your dogs? That's one. Number 2, what is government doing to stop this noise pollution that we have? We've had the Lagos State government come here a few times to discuss about noise pollution. So there are ways to resolve this issue, not by taking dogs to attack. That's one angle. But let me hear your own thoughts. You can call us on the numbers on your screen, 081 076 41679, 0902 416 3440. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. Let me get your initial thoughts on this dogs, the invasion of the dogs, into a church service, the audacity. Oh, Father Lord. Thank God I was not in that church.
What will you have done?
What would you have done?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
The thunder will strike down the dogs.
Anyways, thank God I'm the moderator today. Let me come to you. What are your thoughts?
So, I would have said that it shouldn't have resorted to self-help. But I had a client who built a house in Ikorodu and thought to return to this country. And her neighbors were a church. She couldn't sleep. They did service all days of the week, night, vigil, everything. So she had to go to the pastor to speak to him. She talked to him. He told her she should instead be a real Christian. She's Christian. And she was like, So she resorted to getting the letter. But my client was very smart. She had done all the needful. She had reported to La Sepa. She had done the needful. And then La Sepa came to give the church a warning. And a full church service was used cursing her. She left the country. She went back. Yes. A full church service on a Sunday. She kept hearing that woman go to La Sepa. She kept calling the name. I'm traumatized.
Because she was hearing what they were saying.
She was hearing them cursing her. She had to leave. So my blame was, why did La Sepa not do the needful? Enforce the soundproof. So that my client can enjoy her property which she built. Because it's a choice to build. Unfortunately, we don't regulate town planning. In those days, you won't have a noise generating.
But it won't stop the curses on him, It wouldn't have stopped the curse. Even if La Sepa had enforced it, they would still do this because it's on them. It's on them.
The noise pollution had not been enforced, and she could hear everything they said. So it was double for her. It was wrong in every facet of it. It was totally wrong to make somebody not enjoy a property she had invested money building.
That's unfair.
And she left because
she
of
had
that.
to leave. I've not heard from her recently.
Let me come to you,
Yes, the initial story and what you just said, I find noise making to be very irritating for me. And the attitude also, because this is supposed to be a church or these are Christians, you hope that you're able to reach out and speak to them and appeal to them, and from the kindness of their hearts and from the Christianity point of view, understand that, they also have a responsibility to their neighbors. That when someone comes to complain about noise, it's not complaining about Jesus Christ or complaining about Christianity, but complaining about the fact that, you should know where your right stops and where the other person's right begins. For this man to have gotten to this point, it seems to me that, in my own opinion, I would like to believe that this is something he must have tried to reach out to this church quite a few times. well, we can't say if he reached out to La Sepa, but, you know, this must be something that had been ongoing back and forth, and he's had it, and he came into the church with dogs. You know, there's also the funny part, like if I was in the church and a man walks in with 3 dogs, first of all, I would think either he's gone mad or the devil himself. I say, you know, all our prayers that we have been praying to uproot the devil and expose the devil, I'll just assume it's the devil and has been brought into church to be exposed.
But they're not listening to him there.
They're not listening. They're praying against him now. They're kabashing him and, you know, they want him...
Because I think there's a man with a microphone and he's still speaking, so he's probably asking us, you know. So now let's come to us, BC, as our people who we are. You know, we are religious people, right? But where do we draw the line in being religious? Because they also have a right to gather. They have a right to pray.
They have a right to
He also rights to sleep. He has a right to be there. So how do we live in a cohesive environment and not trouble each other?
Jesus was always upset with the Sadducees and the Pharisees because of these sort of things. Instead of finding a place to pray, you will be screaming at the top of your voice so that your neighbors will know that you're praying. He kept complaining about it, and he kept saying, do not be like the Pharisees and the Sadducees. And he quotes all of these examples of what we're seeing today. If you are a Christian and you understand the love of God, and somebody brings a complaint to say, you are disturbing me from sleeping, the first thing you will do is to apologize. And now explain to the person that you're finding ways to limit the noise. But the problem is because you want the whole world, you want the whole
shout to the Lord, all the earth.
You want the whole environment to know that you are shouting to the Lord, all of the earth. You are shouting and displacing other people from having their peace. I think they should just have a place where maybe like a street where all the churches, put all the churches there so that when you're entering that street, church street, you're entering there, you just know that you enter from one noise to the other. But these things must be reported. I don't subscribe to taking a dog into the church. Yeah. Me as a Christian myself, I will not do that. But I would come and shout, and I'll come and fight. Let me give you an example. So I was living very close to Genesis Global. When I moved into that, he's my friend. When I moved into that environment, I realized that when they're doing their program, so the noise is steady, but because I was a choir girl, I love the music, so I don't mind. Even in the middle of the night, when you mistakenly wake up to pee, I find it difficult to go back to sleep, you know, but I didn't mind because it was music to my ears, so I didn't complain about that. But the fact that when they're doing their programs, they would block the whole street. Now, everybody on that street didn't have an issue. When you come back middle of the night, at 31st to crossover, people park their cars on other people's compound and other streets and walk into their houses because the church was having a program. I'm sorry, I'm not Yoruba. I couldn't have it. I didn't understand why I have to park my car and then walk with my family, probably the things I have brought home, into my house. Then by 12 noon the next day, I'm going to bring my car in. I wasn't having it. So I'll come and I will complain. And the church members will insult me. They will pour curses, blah, 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 blah. No curseless curse shall stand. I know the word of God and I hold it strongly. So that one did not bother me. But I kept insisting. So there was a day I threatened, I will hit you if you don't remove this canopy from my compound. After a while, I just went straight to the church that day. I said, I want to see your man of God. Recently he realized I wasn't a lawyer. He always felt I was a lawyer. I said, I want to see your man of God today. They were like, I said, I want to see your man of God today. I am not living here. They opened the door. I went in. Guess who I met? A very humble man who listened to me, apologized on behalf of the members, and said that normally what they do is to tell everybody that they are having a program and appeal to them, but that they will make sure they don't block my compound again. And he stopped. That's someone who understood, because I didn't understand why you have to block my gate. He didn't get why, maybe in his mind, why is she complaining other people are like that? But I'm not other people. I came here individually. I did not contribute money from village to come and buy this land. It was my own money. So you must give me that respect as somebody who believes and somebody who knows the God you claim that you're serving. What we have is people who are very religious, but they don't even understand what it means to love their neighbor as themselves.
You know, there was part of the comment that I read that was saying that would anybody have the audacity to carry dogs into a mosque? And it was very interesting because I think when I mentioned it earlier, it was like, can somebody confidently carry 3 dogs. Maybe somebody's doing the morning prayer at 5 a.m. and said because you wanted to sleep, they didn't allow you to sleep, maybe because you've been feeding your baby all night, and your wife did not sleep. You now carry 3 dogs into the mosque. Many people will not do it. And somebody said, because of the repercussions. And then it reminded me of why Nigeria is where we are. Because our judicial system is not functional. There's no real repercussion. Because people already know that if you try it in certain parts of this country where you dare take a dog, especially dogs again, Islam abhors dogs. Yes. My mother, when she was praying, the reason why I wanted a dog all my life, my mother never allowed it because she was a Muslim, she was a devout Muslim. She did not want us having dog because the sound breaks your prayers, I believe. No. You know, or I can't remember what it was, but it was like
maybe saliva.
Yeah, so everything dogs, you can't have dogs around. So the point is that it goes back to, so in the mind of a Nigerian, you can't do that to a mosque because you know there might be repercussions.
Let's talk about it too. Because, blocking the road during Friday prayers is wrong. And using your microphone to disturb anybody is wrong. And the sheikhs that are sound. Recently, one sheikh was one professor of Islamic studies was on Twitter talking about it again because it trended where you have them block the road. And it's a certain, I don't know how to put it, caliber of Islamic people. You don't come to the Central Mosque in Alausa on the Eko area and find them blocking the road. When we want to pray on the Lagos Island Mosque, we pray closer to the, I prayed there a few times when I was still trading, closer to the mosque, not blocking the road. You still have cars passing slowly. But in Lagos, in my own area, you will not pass. Once they start, you won't be able to pass. I've always talked about it. I will approach the imam will talk about it, but this set of people will still spread their mats and pray and tell you it's just a few seconds. I understand that few seconds. I understand that Islamic prayers are short. But pata in the highest is a 5. They will not block the road until the Juma service Salah itself starts. So while the sermon is going on, you can pass, but once the prayer starts, they'll quickly pray. I understand that, but Islam did not say that because you want to pray, it must be an inconvenience to anybody in any place they're living. Quote it, let's find the backing. It's usually based on the biases of the people who you want to abuse my religion. That's why they've allowed it over the years. And when you talk about repercussion, it's because of that fear of how people will receive it. Yeah. The other day we were talking about 2 women are fighting on a religious platform. And some callers said, because Muslims will not tolerate it, they are the most, and that's wrong. Muslims are very tolerating. What they would not tolerate is any abuse to the Prophet, to the Quran, to their religious books, including that of some of the Christ, as you call him, we call him Prophet. But tolerate, it means respect the rights of other people, which includes don't block the road during prayers. And it happens so many times, it's disgusting to say the least. When you drive into it in an emergency, it can be annoying. So I live in an area where we have only one major road out, and you can be sitting there in an emergency just looking at them. One beer that you know reach to do anything. Even with your hijab on, you can't do anything. I saw a gang of them on a Juma service beat my husband blue black. I didn't find it funny.
So in the case of dogs, for example, one of the reasons why I wanted to have this conversation is because dogs, in Islam, it's totally prohibited.
We don't rear dogs.
If you just imagine you're in Kano and you had the audacity to enter a mosque because somebody... I'm just saying, that is the audacity. So because Nigerians know there will be repercussions, so they dare not. So is it therefore that many of us don't even respect the Christian synagogue or our churches, we don't play our places of worship. We don't respect those places of worship anymore like before.
So I feel like there are 2 different issues because I do not want us to use the fact of lack of respect for our place of worship and allow when we do something wrong, and say that it's okay to allow us to continually do what is wrong. So this is what I mean. That church, the dog shouldn't have been brought in. That was a clear disrespect of the place of worship. But also, we have Christians in a church who have clearly disrespected and have not shown any kindness towards their neighbors. So there are 2 different things, which is we must show respect, but Christians also, churches, let's not say Christians, churches that run these services and masses and vigils, those very charismatic revivals, they need to understand that you're in a particular place with neighbors. And if there is a sort of agreement, you know, about the times that you're supposed to do the church, follow those times. Do not do it because you feel that, well, we're worshiping God and everybody else should stop. Everyone worships their God in one way or the other. And sometimes the way you even preach to people is not even by the words from the Bible. It's the way you even conduct yourself. It's how you show kindness towards people. It's how you respect them. But to bring dogs or to do anything, that was disrespectful. Okay. And that church handled it the way they could have handled it. Yes, so for me, maybe that church should have done something better. The security would have dragged the man out or found a way to drag him out, hold him down and get the police involved. Then they would have discussed the reason why that happened. Yeah. But everybody was just scampering about and then praying and clapping at that person. So even you did not bring respect. You did not show respect for your own place of worship, and you allowed somebody to walk
something
through
that really struck
like
me. Back in the day, we used to have one service, Sunday. Everybody looks forward to Sunday. Maximum, there's Tuesday service, maybe just midweek. But for many years, it was just Sunday services. Then over the years, they started midweek services. And then we have the
different departments.
Different department meetings. They have Saturday, Sunday prayer, choir practice on Saturdays. Workers meeting.
Monday.
Then workers meeting on Monday. Then Thursday is for pregnant women. Then singles. We also meet maybe on Friday. Married women. Everybody. Okay. So the point is that there's always service. And each of them will have vigil. They'll pick their day of vigil because the general vigil is not for. It's not women's vigil is different, pregnant women's vigil is different, singles vigil is different, men's vigil is different, planning committee, the church, the choir when they are practicing also. Saturday morning that you want to just wake up and cook breakfast for the family and choir practice is big. So my question therefore is, how do we rearrange this management of our church?
So I was raised Catholic, right? And so in this conversation, I would like to remove the Catholic Church out of this.
They don't do that.
Remove the Anglican.
Most Orthodox, but Catholics that I know, yes.
My father's church.
So these churches, there's a respect in the way they carry themselves and the way that, they relate.
I beg your pardon.
Yeah.
In that way.
Please,
but then with Pentecostal churches, when they came out in the beginning, it was seen that they wanted to do anything opposite Orthodox churches. And they wanted to do it more. Whatever it is that the Orthodox church was doing once, they would do it 5 times because their relationship with God is 5 times stronger than the relationship with the Orthodox churches. So you had those. Even in Catholic churches, you had all sorts of St. Vincent de Paul, you go for, rosary, you had different things, but you did it in such a
movement within
yes,
the church,
but you also did
within the Catholic church is similar
to but it came after Pentecostalism. It wasn't something that was started. Yes. So there were activities that still happened within church, but it was within church, and people were able to move around and feel free. Now we're talking about Pentecostals and Pentecostalism. I remember my grandmother, when my mom found Pentecostal church, she went the first day, she came back and said, it went in church and name my mom could take it. Like, she could not believe it. She felt like it was quite different. Let me use the word. It was really different. So it took some getting used to. So we understand what this is meant to be. It's supposed to be the firebrand part of Christianity. It's about the Holy Ghost fire. But we're asking, in doing that, I hear Pentecostals say this all the time, that our God is not a God of confusion. So in being the Pentecostals that we are, can we tame it a bit?
You can't serve the
God. Can we arrange? Can we
mighty God in silence?
Can we hold it down?
We have to shout. We have to praise God. It's in your Psalms book. You don't read Psalms again.
Right.
We have
can you go to the wilderness? Can you go on to the wilderness? Shout and then come back.
You have to dance with all the cymbals and all the instruments of God. You have to make noise.
I remember. You cannot dance and disturb other people.
Yes.
Because you assume that people are interested in your sounds. Not everybody is. There are people with different religions around you that you are going to be disturbing their peace because you want to serve your God.
So I had
sorry, let me just finish this. What we are going to appeal to people who are big enough to start building their churches is that it must be in the law that you soundproof your environment. So you can scream all you like and shout all you like, but you are not disturbing, you are not infringing on another person's right. And also, we must instill the fact that if you claim to know this God and serve this God, it must show. It must reflect on how you relate to another person. Because you cannot claim to serve a God who you have not seen, you have not heard before, but you love him so much, and then the human being who you have seen and you have heard, you are not loving that person. You are deceiving yourself. There's no way the evidence of the love you have for God reflects on how you treat other people. So you cannot be disturbing them in the name of, I am shouting and praising to my God. You are wasting that shout and praise. Have you not asked yourself, after how many years of shouting and praying, they still repeat it year in, year out? You've not seen the miracle, you've not seen the breakthrough. You could be doing it. You could be doing it amiss. You could be doing it amiss. You're just doing it, but you don't have an understanding of how you should do it. Yes. So my father's church is a very quiet church. They still pray and have their singing and all of that. Yes, but they don't disturb the neighbors. You don't even know something is happening in that building till you see the name of the church. And
So
it's very civil.
Go ahead.
I had a neighbor when I was on admission, and I would pray every night when I was on admission.
The prayer is all loud now. Christian prayer is not.
Hey, but I was
But they
praying.
shout in their calling.
I don't shout.
When they're calling for prayer.
prayer is your calling people.
Catholics ring that bell.
So it's like an announcement. Call to prayer is calling people in just a few
minutes.
seconds.
Yes.
But I was in the hospital and I was praying every night. The doctors even knew. They would say, Elijah will not sleep at night. And then I had this neighbor who came and chose I sleep in the morning. One night till morning to pray. She had CS the next day and she was praying. She was hitting the wall, shaking the bed. I waited for her to finish. I said, Madam, God will not answer that prayer. She said,
Stop me.
I said, you're pregnant and I'm pregnant. Do you think God would answer your prayer? All the while you were disturbing me, I was just cursing you. I said it to her. Yes, I said you were disturbing me.
The only pregnant woman that can get away with those things.
She looked at me and I looked at her because my pregnancy didn't show well.
You have said, gone back to fire.
Yes,
I would have continued, but she understood it. She was like, but I'm praying. I said, if you pray quietly, everybody here, whenever they come, I pray that we all go on with what we came for. I said, but you were banging the wall.
You let me sleep.
Do you know how much I'm paying here? Then I've done like 5 months. Do you know how much I'm paying?
Yeah.
You came for just one night and decided I will not sleep.
Yeah.
We
need to be considerate.
No, I wanted you to use it to establish civil conversations.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That man could have had, you know, it was just very edge. You know, that man could have had a civil conversation. Yeah. And if he failed, he would have gone to a civil agency. That's why I have a problem with LASEPA. Because that man, if he had a club doing the same thing the church was doing, would he go in with dogs? Most likely the club will have bouncers. So he would not. I had someone who reported to LASEPA the noise pollution the club was doing, and she got a notice of sealing her own house, an old woman's house in Lagos here. So we need the agencies to work as they're supposed to, so that we don't resort to this kind of self-help.
So agencies, okay, let me
because if those dogs are beating somebody in the church,
Olufemi from London,
that
go
man
ahead.
will be actionable against him.
Good morning, Olufemi, you're live. Olufemi, thanks for calling. You're live. Go ahead, please.
Can I say thank you to all of you again?
You're welcome, sir.
Subject matter is very, very critical and very, very important. And just for me to chip in, I enjoy your program.
Thank you.
It's very educative, enlightening, and the contribution of each and every one of you there is just very, very straight to the point. And I do appreciate all of you.
Thank you, sir.
Now, coming to the subject matter regarding religion. We Christians, we are hypocrites. I live in UK, you make noise, disturb your neighbor, they will come inside the church and drag you out. And in Celestia, we don't let you in Celestia, and coming to church with you is totally prohibited. The police will enter your altar with shoe and drag all of you out.
So that's in the UK.
Yeah.
Okay, so Nima said something I think is really important, civility, and how we can be civil with each other. Because LASEPA or whichever, it's not only LASEPA, it isn't Lagos, but there are other parts of the country. The government can't get everywhere. Government can't even get everywhere to help you. So we also must be civil in our dealings with each other. It's not about taking dogs into somebody's house or somebody's church. It's about constantly and not getting tired of having that conversation. I will keep coming to you. I'll keep appealing to you. I'll call the neighborhood association, maybe residents association or landlords association. We'll continue to have this conversation because we can never lose sight of the importance of dialogue. It's not about violence. We can't constantly always have that self-help. No, I must take my dogs. We can't keep doing that. If we want to, so one thing governments will do, but another thing we as a people must choose to be civil in a lot of things.
Yeah.
So we don't always do that. How many times have you heard people going to church to demand that they stop doing anything? A lot of us are afraid of the wrath of God. You know, we sit in our homes and we take a lot of things. You know, the example that you gave about your area, the reasons why maybe the overseer of that church did not know is that many people just respected the fact that it's a church. Okay, I will wait to my turn. So sometimes let's speak up. So first, when we speak up now, when we come to this place of worship, when we finally speak up, please do the right thing.
Yeah.
Don't make people who open their mouth to express dissatisfaction in some of your behavior, make it about the fact that, they have offended God. Oh, it's because this person is a Muslim, that's why. Oh, don't you see, these people, they are unbelievers, that is why. Recognize that what you're doing is definitely a burden on some people. It's not fair. Civility, kindness, and then, you know, I'm calling Christianity out specifically because that is really the foundation on which Christianity is on. It's about loving each other. It's about loving your neighbor as yourself. So if you don't want that sort of disturbance for yourself, why would you want somebody to take it over and over? You know, one thing with those who appear in church is you come, you make all the noise, then you go back to your own homes where there's, I have a good sleep, where there's no, you know, so
let me take this call from Sharafa. She's been holding for a while. Good morning, Sharafa. You're live.
Yeah, good morning, Mariah.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
My name is Sharafa. I'm calling from Satellite. Yeah, I would like to contribute to what you people are talking about.
Yeah.
I'll give you my own personal experience. Where I stay, there's a church just right behind my house. In the last 4 days, I have not sleep.
Ew.
So if I'm in the position of that person, if I had dogs, I would have done the same. I have written to the agency, is it La Peppa? I wrote them mail twice. Up to this moment, I'm telling you, there's no response. In the last 4 days, I have not slept. They start at about 10, and they drum till say 6 in the morning or 6:30. How do you say you're praying, you're preaching using loudspeaker in the middle of the night? And they are not even up to 20 in the church there. The same church during fasting, because I was the one who sent, I complained about him during Ramadan, last Ramadan. At about the time we went to start Tarawih prayer, that's when they will start this thing. It almost resulted into fight.
Right.
I have to beg the young guys.
Thank you very much, Sharafa. We need to talk to ourselves, especially now. This is our season. This is our shouting season because December is coming around. We're going to be lots of events. We're going to be programs back to back, and there's crossover. We're going to block every corner that is blockable because it is. Listen.
Let's just be civil about it.
Let's be civil about it.
So there was a day I like to work at night. I do most of my coaching, trainings, and teachings. I prepare in the middle of the night most of the time after meditation. So this particular day, I was downstairs. I was recording, into my phone, the meditations that I wanted to give to my people. When I just started hearing boom, 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 boom. So I have a younger sister we call her Mommy Gio in the house. She's a prayer warrior. She's a prayer everything and all that. I was just saying boom, boom, boom. I didn't know where the noise was going. What's happening in my house? Boom, 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 boom. So my mind just told me it should be her. I just sent a message with the other phone. Auntie, I'm recording, please. What's happening? He's so sorry that she's praying. So the next morning, I had a pep talk with her. I said, it's good that you pray. Did you have to use your whole body? I had to redo that recording all over again. And you know, when you are doing something a second time, you must have lost the ginger of the first one. And I explained, I said, nobody's stopping you. Nobody has ever stopped you in this house from doing whatever it is that you want to do. But can you limit the noise? Because it was getting into my own work. So your own is spiritual. My own is also spiritual. You know, so and why I'm pointing this example is sometimes we have a way of feeling this thing I'm doing is more spiritual than the other one that you're doing. And so you must understand or you must accept that once it has to do with God, once I mention that God and branded that God on top of it, every other thing must bow, every other thing must be
There have been
kept.
testimonies I have seen where somebody said, I was sleeping. I heard the music in the church down the street, and it ministered to me.
Okay.
I got up on my feet. I dressed up. I went to church to sing and dance with them, and God answered my prayer. That's when, that night, I conceived my twins.
Deliverance came.
Deliverance, people have different testimonies. So what's for you is disturbance. To another person is blessing. To another person, it is a breakthrough. It's deliverance. So it's about understanding, okay, know our schedules. This day is for the days we do this. We do vigils on this day. Understand it. Well, we living. We must understand.
For me. I used to
Before you respond, let me take Yakub. He's been making for this. Good morning, Yakub. Then I'll come to you, Nima. Yakub,
Yeah, good morning, Morayo.
you're live.
And then good morning to everyone.
Good morning.
Morayo, what really happened is this. I think the LASEPA agents in this state, especially, they are not working. They are not working. What stops LASEPA not to have offices in all the local governments in this state? What stops them? And then they are talking about lack of jobs. There is a job for the youth to doing. I didn't say that they employ a lot of people. They're supposed to have offices all the local government. You know why? Look at the two people I've already called in now. They say they are preaching to the LASEPA, but how many times? No response. And then Sister Nima said something. He said that somebody came to the hospital, a woman like her, pregnant the same thing, and then he was starting eating before, and then Nima was praying in his own mind, that God will never answer this, which is the truth. And then he also said something earlier that I didn't be, for example, Morayo, I didn't be the one that find myself in this situation. If I have dog, I will take that dog to the mosque or the church at the same time. You need to come to my area as well. Well, Sister Nima know this thing I'm about to. There's something called Bandiri. That's one alpha in my area. On Thursday from around 8 p.m., he started beating this Bandiri. And then I approached the alpha because I asked him. I said, where is it written in our Quran that you must be stopping the order? You know what he says? He said, do you know what I'm talking about? I said, I know what that showed me where it's written in the Quran that you must be stopping other people by beating them, because that we have a lot of old men that were taking their drugs, their medication. They needed to sleep, and you are disturbing them. Do you know God is supposed to answer this prayer? No, it will not answer. In fact, there was a time a pastor living behind my house, always shouting in their own room. I was praying in my mind, God will never answer this prayer. Because if I pray in the... Yes,
what's the difference between you and...
If I wake up midnight, I have my tattoo, I dare not...
Thank you, Yakub.
Disturbance, the inconvenience, what you're causing. Some people have elevated blood pressure now because of inability to sleep.
Yes.
And we commonize it. Thank God that Yakubu brought Bandiri inside. So there's a sect of Muslims I will not mention so that they will not come and find my address. But these practices are very un-Islamic. In fact, they are unprophetic. Let me put it like that, because they are not following the rules of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. They are following the discretions of their sheikhs today. When they are praying, you now hear, the first time I saw it, I thought I would faint. When you are praying, that's not, I've never seen Muslims pray and they are forcing like that. You will chant this morning till I drove to work. Somebody was in my car with me, and I was praying. Yeah. And the person did not know. If in between conversation, I'll be like, And I prayed till I got here. Sometimes I carry military officers in the car, and I will still do that prayer because I don't have any time to sit down and finish the prayer in the house. But the person that is in my car is not Muslim. And the person does not need to know how I'm praying. It's my relationship with God. So that brings me back to what I was going to say earlier. LASEPA should understand the importance of that agency. Their staff and members. And trust me, they're in every local government. I had the experience of calling one. They told her to call me from Amu Odofi. When I called her back and I was explaining the kind of pollution she was going to address, she said, okay. She put off the phone. I called her back till tomorrow. She has not called me back. I called the person that sent her. I said, no, don't mind that she'll call you. Till tomorrow. She belittled how that pollution was affecting me. Recently, my neighbor's water is always over-pumping. It does not have automatic stop. Every time you flood my own compound, I told my husband, I said, this time around, I want to go and hire pumping machine and spray water inside his house. Because I was like, Nima, you have started. Because if the agencies were working, I will not have to resort to that kind of self-help that will even demean me. Because by the time I'm done, I will not be happy. But I'll just feel I've done my own back.
Okay, please don't do that.
That's the reason government created those agencies.
Let me take this call. Chinedu from
Churches are being called out.
Good morning, Chinedu.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Welcome to the show.
Okay. I really love your show. I've been trying to call. So, this discussion is very particular to me. I want to say that, first of all, it wasn't right for the man to take dogs to the church. But you don't know what that man has gone through. Because I also have gone through the same thing. For the last 2 years and a half, we have this ministry by our side that won't allow us to sleep. Their noise is terrible, very terrible. And I've done a simple discussion with them. I've spoken to their landlord. I've pleaded with them. I've assisted the landlords that gone to church before new church took over. I also have gone to the estate. I spoke to them. I wrote to La Cesta. In fact, after 2 weeks, I had to get to La Cesta again. And they came and attended to them. But you know that these people just started cursing, all sorts of things. I pleaded with them. I told them, my wife's blood pressure is high. I have a young baby that is just not even up to 2 months. But they will not listen. Although I will not take dogs there, because I also have 2 big dogs, And funnily enough, I'm also a pastor. I've been pastoring for 15 years. And one time, somebody came to my church. I'm not the senior pastor, I'm an auxiliary pastor. Who does that? Our sound is small. And my senior pastor wants everybody to from today bring down the sound.
Yeah.
So we have to find constructive ways to make sure that we reduce the sound. Because I'm also a structural engineer, we have to make sure that we can prove that church.
Okay.
The next business.
Thank you very much, Chinedu, for your... So we have comments.
Comments, yes. This one quickly. It's funny. Say, my wife's loud action prayer after a nightmare also wakes me up from deep sleep. Who will I report to now?
Report to God.
Go ahead.
We should learn.
They are calling name. Oh, it's not me that wrote it. It's somebody that wrote it. RCCG House of David Ogudu. Oh, I can send you many pictures. Chai! I can write a book about the lawlessness they practice. By the way, I reported them to La Sepa. It took me 12 years to get their generator away from my building. Not only would they block my entrance, but they tell me and family members we can't park in front of our gates. Their visitors bash my gates, so the whole entrance to the close, they block everything and tell you, go and meet the pastor. I am an RCCG member, but I do not tolerate illegality.
Somebody's...
Siba, let me just respond to him. Says, delectable morale, please note, Muslims can have dogs and can even eat ever the trained dogs kill as prey. He quoted the Quran, Surah to Maida. But Muslims can't keep dogs within the house they live in. And to some extent, they can't eat the prey of those dogs. He didn't put those exceptions. He didn't put the general rule is do not keep dogs. Right. And if you must, it has to have a kennel somewhere far from your house. If it touches your garment, you have to do some extra cleansing. So there are rules to keeping dogs. Right. So imagine you're praying and a dog is brought in.
See,
so just
thank you for that clarity.
Points just to make points.
Thank you for that clarity. You see, may we not enter some kind of trouble that you need to call some Holy Ghost fire, some serious prayer. There's some serious issues people get into. That is not by, Father, Lord Heaven, God bless me. But it's not that kind of prayer that you need. You need some serious demon camping, destroying fire that you cannot do it silently. You must do it on top of the voice. Wait, calm down now.
Simple.
Not in the wilderness. Not in the wilderness. Because God can call you anytime to start and pray. Listen now. Listen.
But you know all your secrets from praying.
Exactly in the prayer.
Our neighbor when I was growing up, all the secrets we knew from praying.
Before.
Kilo day. But you not tell your neighbor your problem from praying. This is God you are talking to. Talk to God. I went to Catholic school as a child and I've learned silent prayers. I still do it tomorrow. I'm teaching my child to say the prayer.
You see, you should be helping me in this matter because you're a deaconess.
No, I cannot.
Hey,
I don't
deaconess.
stop. I am a
You're a
deaconess.
deaconess.
I don't
Deaconess, you know that we must pray. There's some prayers that need prayer and fasting.
Yes, I understand.
There are some kind of prayers
I
that
understand.
you must send some things to the enemies of the camp of the
so
enemy.
this deaconess you called me. My mother is a pastor. My mother came to my store opening and she was leading prayer.
Very beautiful man. She
Preach, not disturb anybody. I love that woman's prayer. My mother can sit here in the midst of us and she's praying. I just know by how she moves her head that she's praying. That's all. She will not disturb you and her prayers are being answered. So we must learn to, it's not everything that we have to shout out. Sometimes, like she said, you speak into the ears of your enemies what they are not supposed to hear. What you are, they say when something is happening, you should cover it up till it blossoms. Sometimes when you pray so loudly, the people who don't even know that this miracle is coming close will hear.
Apart from that, what I notice also with people who do this is that who you're actually praying to or for
It's not deaf.
is for people to know that you're a prayer warrior. And that's your blessing. God has said it. If you are doing it for people, the fact that they acknowledge that this is who you are, that's the blessing.
Yes,
but if it's something you are talking about, you have some sort of issues. There's some sort of issues. Mariah, you know it's a silent scream to God. God, you know my heart. There are no words that I can put together, you know, to express this pain I'm feeling. God, you understand my heart. Where are the words? Really, when you are really in the spirit, where are the words that come out?
So.
You just hope, you just know that God sees exactly what you're going through. There's so many stories in the Bible. Daniel, we know, he was where everybody was praying up and down and shouting and everything, and the king could tell this is a prayer. This one will go into the secret place and pray. And when he was tested, God showed up for him. So I know that we have, I want to understand Pentecost, you know, the Pentecostals. I understand where they are coming from, but also know that there are other human beings around you. There's nothing wrong with going to the wilderness. There's nothing wrong in stepping aside, driving far away. There are some people that go to the sea, to the beach, and they are screaming into, you know, the waves and everything.
Let me add something.
It's civil.
Sometimes we pray, over pray, and we leave that space to be silent and listen. We pray, and we leave, there's no space to even calm down and listen to the answers to the prayers that you have prayed. We are always constantly talking. Anytime you come into the presence of God, you are the one talking. Anytime you come into the presence of God, when does the God speak to you so that you can hear? We don't emphasize on silence. We don't emphasize on meditation. Once you come there, open your mouth. Anyway, sometimes they carry cane in church. For people like the local church where I come from, for people who are not shouting, I warn the person. I say, stop it. I don't. You don't.
You know, let me take a few comments.
Joking.
I have one for Mr. Yemi Sholade. He's an actor. He says, "Good morning, Mura. How are you doing? I wanted to contribute and share my own experience with two churches situated in my close resident area. It was war. I won in the long run." And that person said, how about the noise from generators? Some people leave their generators on all through the night. This is from Madam Carol. And I think I have one from Dr. Tijani, but I can't find it right now.
Says,
we have to go ahead.
Okay, Nima is wrong. It is only a donors that hasn't produced governor in the PDP. We're talking of where governors have come, not party. Ibukola Samuel Ogumbote says, I recalled complaining about a church next door. The vigil was practically every day. The church left, but was replaced by a bar. You cannot know my pain. So we are talking churches.
Bar is the same thing. But I think we have to wrap up.
And then if you do any business that involves, you know, pollution, environmental pollution that creates some smell, please be conscious. We had one who was doing a pure water factory and turned the generator deliberately with the vents for the waste into the neighbor's compound. Why would you do that?
Not only
would they put up with the noise, they also put up with the pollution.
That's all we can take on today's show. I think the feedback is need to be civil. Let's love our neighbors as ourselves. Let's be careful. If you're going to have a church, you know me, I come from a church where our mission is to make sure that there's a church 5 minutes from every residential home or from each other. So that's why we are somewhat in residential areas. So we've taken your feedback. I'll go back to my church.
Please. Thank you.
To pad up. But I think generally we just need to understand each other. And we need to be more civil and have a conversation. But please, under no circumstance should you take a dog into a church or a mosque. And it's totally wrong. That's all we can take on today's show. See you tomorrow. Bye for now.